All right. So, for everyone listening and watching this on whatever way you might be listening and watching, oh, this is live, record only. Okay, cool. Just making sure for everyone watching that we are indeed recording. So, here we go for discussing who number something. So, here we go. The Discussing Network presents Discussing Who, a Doctor Who podcast. I am Kyle Jones, and for the first time in probably several episodes, don't know how many it's been, but it's been a few, Shannon Perry. Welcome
Yay!
back.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Happy to be
welcome.
here.
Glad to have you here. So, what's been going on with you? Anything interesting?
Uh, well, let's see. I'm heading up to a ghost town soon to do some audio recording,
Oh, sweet.
so that'll be fun.
That
So I
sounds
hope to see you
amazing.
again at the end. I'll let you know. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. There's some old mining towns in Western Washington that we're gonna head up and check one out called Monte Cristo.
Oh wow.
So I have to ask you before we move forward. I made a joke on um, Facebook for you. I think it was yesterday, and I think, the king of corny jokes. And you said louder milk, and I said I prefer my milk quiet, and we kind of settled somewhere between the two. What is louder milk?
It's a TV. It's a show on Netflix right now with
Ah,
the guy from Office Space, whose name I cannot
okay.
remember offhand. Yeah.
Cool. So it wasn't what you thought.
No,
Mm,
I like that actor very much, so I was a little disappointed. But
got you. Well, you know what I'm not disappointed in? I'm not disappointed in the fact that I get to say, welcome back, Clarence Brown.
woo!
Hey, live from the bedroom. How are you guys doing?
Welcome to Discussing Who After Dark.
After dark. No,
How are
man,
you, my friend? How are
I'm
you?
doing great. Glad to be on with you guys to talk about what we love to talk about.
Yes, indeed, discussing Who. But this week, unfortunately, we'll be discussing Who without Lee Shackelford. But Lee will be back soon. And as always, Shannon, absolute pleasure. This is the first time the three of us have ever been on just the three of us. So this is kind of cool. Missing Lee, of course, as always, but cool to have you nonetheless.
Happy to be here. But
So, everybody, let's just go ahead and get into it. I don't have any feedback. I don't have any news. So, I'm going to do a abbreviatedly condensed, and I'm making it up on the absolute go. Spoiler warning. So, I'm going to say if you have not seen the San Diego Comic Con panel and trailer for the Doctor Who Series 13, go out to YouTube, watch it, come back, because from this moment forward, spoilers. Barking dogs. Woohoo, I love
sorry.
barking dogs. No, that's cool. So I have to ask, what are they barking at?
Probably a delivery guy in our complex outside.
Ah, cool.
That would be
Kyle,
my
it's,
guess.
it's obvious they're happy about the trailer. They saw the Comic Con
There
panel.
you
Yes,
go.
They're
yes.
showing
Zoe's a
their
huge
excitement.
Doctor Who fan.
Yes, obviously.
See, I forgot to play the audio clip of who let the dogs out. So,
Well,
cha-ching.
there you go back to the early aughts, man. We gotta get you.
Seriously. No
Uh,
reference past 2010.
there you go. All right, so main segment, we've got the spoiler warning out. So Shannon, I want to go back because we've never actually talked to you on the air about Series 11, Series 12. So as what I usually call some review, I'm going to give to you this time. Series 11, Series 12. What did you think overall? Did you
I
like?
Yeah, I was super excited. I loved Broadchurch, and so when I found out that Jodie Whittaker was taking over the role of the Doctor, I was super excited. And I think she's a wonderful Doctor. She was great from the jump, like funny, light, brilliant. I just think she makes a wonderful Doctor, and I love her in that role. Um, some of the storylines I have been a little less excited about. I think I'm a pretty big fan of Stephen Moffat, so it was a little bit of a shift to go to Chris Chibnall. Um, like I said, I loved Broadchurch, so I had high hopes. I've mostly loved it. I think I actually like it a little better than y'all, because there seems to be some concern amongst you about the preachiness of it. I don't mind it as much. I don't find it quite so bad, but yeah, I miss Stephen Moffat to a certain extent for sure. But I
Mm.
love this group of companions are wonderful. They're awesome, and I adore Jodie Whittaker. So
All right, cool summary. And yes, I mean, yeah, we do have issues, but this is not to here to rehash the issues. We're going to get into what may be coming because I'm actually a little bit excited.
Is it mostly Cal Jones with the issues? I mean, come on, let's be real.
Answer the question.
that's fair. That's a fair point.
Seriously, answer your own question. Is it?
No, I mean, I feel like some of the preachiness gets to me as well, but I think I may be less harsh on it than you are. So it's just so different. I think is one of my main arguments for the last two seasons.
You know, I think Shannon hit on something that I maybe have kept harping on about Murray Gold, but I've never thought of it from the absence of Moffat.
Yeah.
You know, I keep referencing we don't have Murray Gold's fantastic music, but we also don't have Stephen Moffat.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
Yeah.
but I have to admit, and we're going to insert the trailer here for everyone listening. So we've listened to the trailer. We've all seen the trailer. I want to get first impressions on the trailer. Clarence, I want to start with you. First impressions on the trailer. What did you think?
Well, to be quite honest, Kyle, I don't think there was a lot in the trailer. I watched it several times when it first came out, and I just didn't see a lot for me to try to piece together where I think the season is going. Now, what I can say that a few shots from the trailer, I thought there was some pretty neat looking special effects shots. I think one with them, I think it was Yaz and the Doctor hanging off of something flying through space. So a few, and there was another with Jodie Whittaker, and the background looked very dynamic. So it made me wonder, but I'm not sure if they were maybe using something like the Mandalorian volume. Not sure on that, but that just kind of had me speculating if they were. But some of the special effects shots in the trailer were interesting. But other than that, we see Dan Lewis as John Bishop a few times. So I don't know. I really have no idea where they're going with this new season, other than if we're piggybacking off of where we ended at the end of last season, where it kind of broke Doctor Who for everybody. Well, for most people, it didn't break for me. But I'm wondering if we're going to go deeper in that direction. But who knows? I mean, I honestly didn't pick up much from the trailer. What about you guys?
Shannon?
Same. And their trailers are sort of infamously vague. I think they don't want to give much away. And I like that it looked like there was some good funny coming up. Like, I love the moment where I think it's the John Bishop character goes whoomp in the background,
Yeah,
and
that was good.
Mandeep Gill says,
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Dan. It looks great. And her saying as she rushes off, any questions? Okay, great. Like, it looks like it's going to have a nice light touch. And I have always loved that about the Doctor. So I'm looking forward to that. But I have to echo Clarence. There was just not a lot to go on.
Well, I'm going to agree with both of you. And it's like what you guys said. You can't show too much in a trailer. I mean, you can't lay out what's going to happen. That defeats the purpose of watching if you know every beat from the trailer.
Yeah,
Honestly,
and there was just a teaser though.
And it was just a teaser. But I will tell you what I picked up on, and something you guys just mentioned that made more of an impact for me than going and seeing the panel. Just the panel highlighted it. I think the standout character this season is going to be Yaz. I think she's going to have some time to shine that she didn't get in these last two seasons.
I mean, we've definitely flirted with Yaz playing more of a doctor-ish role. So I definitely see this season her taking on a lot more responsibility. since she's had 2 seasons in her, role with the Doctor, it's going to be interesting to see a new companion come on
Mm-hmm.
and see how she is sort of their liaison to the happenings of
Right.
everything Doctor.
So let me ask you guys this question, and this is no way, shape, form, or fashion intended to be a knock at Bradley Walsh or Toddson Cole, but watching this interaction between them in the panel, I wanted to just sit there and watch them as the actors interact with each other. I was entertained by that, which made me then excited to see them as their characters.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I saw the four of them being the previous fam cast, I didn't get that same feeling that I got from them.
Oh,
Did you
interesting.
guys feel that, or did you notice that, or am I just reading into something?
I will say that I turned to Richard, my partner, and said, they touch each other a lot. Like you could see them reach out and touch each other,
Yeah.
sort of like to just, you know, in a very friendly way. And I just thought, oh, that's so sweet.
Yes.
You don't do that with somebody that you don't genuinely care about and enjoy. So
Yeah,
I love that.
sweet. What
Yeah.
about you, Clarence?
Yeah, it definitely seems like Dan Lewis. I think that's his name, if I'm saying.
Mm.
But it seems like he has since he is a comedian. First of all, he has a very personable attitude, personality, and it just seems like even though he's like new to all of this, he does have sort of this very, I don't know if magnetic is the word, but kind of I just want to sit in a bar and talk to you type of attitude,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And from the moment he first started talking, it felt like that he was right at home, and I was
Yeah.
right at home seeing him, talk about the show. Now it may be different when we see the actor as John Bishop. It may be different, but as far as the panel goes, he has an attitude or a presence that draws you to him. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt their dynamic was great.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about companions and we're talking about positive energy, I've got to just mention Jonathan Anderson and his vendor character. Shannon, I'll start with you. What did you think of the actor, and then what do you think, or any speculation of who or what vendor may be?
Okay, I think I'm realizing that I watched the wrong thing.
Oops.
The one I watched only had the four of them.
Well, this was a very short pre-recorded message that he did, so you may have missed.
Oh, no, no, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. Yes, I did see that. Okay, good.
Okay, good.
Okay, for a minute there, I was thinking I'd missed something crucial. I did not watch Game of Thrones, so I didn't recognize this guy. Although he said, I thought that he had some small part in Broadchurch, and I
Yes.
was
He
trying to
did say
figure out
that.
as who. He
Wha-
didn't. He wasn't familiar to me, so I'll have to go back and watch because twist my arm, make me watch Broadchurch again. How dare you?
Wasn't
But
he? Let me say this real quick. Wasn't he dating the daughter, Jodie Whittaker's character's daughter? Wasn't there a daughter?
maybe.
I
Yeah,
think he
yeah,
was
yeah.
her boyfriend.
And he built her that special little room.
I think so. I think that's who he is.
I'll go back and look because I couldn't picture him, but I'm thoroughly excited about that character, man. When he shows up in the costume, he just looks so cool. Like that is one of the things I'm super excited about this season. Is like everybody just looks cool. They just
Strong.
look, yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
strong characters. So I'm yeah. Sorry, I'm not articulating this at all well, but I'm very
No,
excited.
but excitement is good. Sometimes non-articulation is the best. So yes,
Yes, that picture right there.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. He has those with the hair anyway. Has those Killmonger vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Michael B. Jordan, but yeah. As far as him in Game of Thrones, he played this character called Grey Worm, who was bald headed, was a very I'm not quiet is the word. He's more of a
subdued.
subdued character. He didn't talk a lot. He was like the leader of, I forget the name of the army, but he was very tough and quiet, bald head, chiseled, and didn't say much the whole time.
Wow.
But he had no spoilers. Well, I guess I'll spoil Game of Thrones a little bit, but he does wind up getting in a relationship by the end of it. So we do see a little bit more of him. And he's also, I guess, a musician in real life, which I've never heard any of his
I've never
music.
heard of that. Yeah.
But I'm very excited to see him play just what looks to be a very different character from what he was in Game of Thrones. And just seeing him in this short clip talk about how he was such a fan of Doctor Who growing up. And this is like he's on one of the biggest shows ever on television, Game of Thrones, but this is his dream show to be on. And his again, just like with Dan, his excitement oozed over and just made you want to jump in and see what he's going to do. And like you said, he looks badass in it. Look at that.
He looks like he almost walked off the set of Serenity and joined Doctor Who.
Yes.
Yes.
I was sitting there listening, and I know everything he said. I'm assuming, I won't say I know, I'm assuming everything he said was vetted before he said it, but I just got this feeling that Chibnall and Jodie and the rest of them were sitting there going, "Oh wow, please don't! You're so excited, don't release something."
Yeah,
because I was wondering, should he have released his name?
But
which
it was
is cool.
Pre-recorded, so I mean, they could have cut anything out.
They could have cut it out. Very good point.
But he did say that he had a ship, so I'm getting strong smuggler, a la Han Solo vibes from him.
Okay, now he also said something that interested me. He said, "From the bottom of my heart," and they all kind of smiled, and I thought, "Is he a Time Lord?"
He did say that.
Did he say that?
He did. He said something about
From the bottom of my heart.
And he said one other thing too that made me think, is he going to be another Gallifreyan?
Oh,
yeah.
They're heading off to Gallifrey, right?
They mentioned action hero when they were talking about his character too, so I'm like, wow, this I'm just really excited. And again, like, I don't know if from the bottom of my hearts was just a Doctor Who pun.
Right, exactly.
He fueled the speculation with it though.
Oh, that is good, because I'm sitting here going, what if he is 14? He said
crazy.
he has his own ship.
Yeah.
But
we don't know
didn't.
that we don't know that it's a TARDIS, but we don't know that it's not.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
The
man. See,
absence of nothing is the presence of something.
Right.
perhaps.
Exactly. I am not ready for Jodie to walk away yet, but then that is never not true of any person who plays the Doctor. So,
Yes. So let's go back to really, really quick, and let's talk a moment. We've covered Vendor and we've covered his excitement, but let's talk about this new trio, and we've kind of danced around it. But there's a rumor, and this could go anywhere, but that John Bishop's character, or Dan, is going to be related to a former companion, and that could be anybody. And there's really no speculation to do because they've not given us anything from it. But my question that I want to pose is, would you guys have rather have seen Yaz and the Doctor alone, or would you rather have seen what we're going to be getting, or does it really even matter?
that's an interesting question.
I think 3 is fine. To have just 2, I'd really, really have to be in love with the companion, and it works. But the stories have to be very, very tight and well written. Which is not to say they couldn't do that, but I think I'm ready for him to come in and just kind of join them. I think that I wanted more Yaz from the end of last season. So just to have her for a little bit longer and, throw somebody else in the mix, I think it's going to be fine. It gives her, because she's been bouncing off of 2 other characters besides the Doctor her entire run. So it would be vastly different for her to just be by herself with the Doctor. It probably could have worked, but I'm interested to see what this dynamic brings.
What about you, Shannon? What do you think?
What was it that he said about himself from this picture? Like, you guys look so cool, and I look like the guy who. There was some really funny comment he made. I look like the guy
he's somebody's, and it wasn't creepy uncle, but it was like
something. I can't remember, but it was very funny. But
Look, he doesn't look that old.
No. it's gonna be a fascinating dynamic. I'm really curious to see. And now that you said that about him possibly being related to an earlier uh companion,
Companion.
I'm
Yeah.
just dying to. Now, of course, my brain is off somewhere else trying to figure out who that is.
But
So,
Yeah.
but I think that would be very smart if they did do that. It's just a nod, even if it's random person's great grandson or
right.
cousin or whomever, just to have that little nod, that sort of how when we met Sarah Jane in series two, if you didn't know Sarah Jane, you still enjoyed the episode. If
Hmm.
you knew Sarah Jane, you were geeking out going, that's Sarah Jane.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
for sure.
So Shannon, I want to point this next question to you first, which is we already know that there were going to only be 8 episodes. However, we now find out that this series will be 8 chapters of one large story. As the writer, the producer of Oz 9, what do you think? I had to throw Oz 9 in there. What did you have? What I have to, but what did you think? What do you think of that concept, doing it that way?
I'm curious how Doctor Who is generally written. I mean, do they map it out well in advance? Is it more along the pantser version of, things are kind of being written as we go? Because I'm curious, a lot of times it feels like things come back around and you go, oh, that makes sense now from that episode like 15 shows ago or whatever. And so I always wonder how they do it, because it seems to me like this is writers who have time to sit down and actually plan out a full story arc rather than the sort of
Stephen
monster of the
Moffat.
week thing. Yeah, right. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to play out. It's going to be very different. It will also be maybe more bingeable for people who watch shows that way. Go wait till the end and go back and watch the whole thing at once. So it'll
Hmm.
be interesting to see. There's a tendency with that to leave more questions than answers, and to keep people coming back for the next episode. So we'll see how frustrating that gets. But it's
Clarence,
not like Doctor Who doesn't do that anyway. So
very good point. Clarence, what do you think?
Chibnall mentioned that this is the biggest and most ambitious story he's ever done. It excites me and it also scares me because I mean we've been going back and reviewing some of the classic, and we've made known that I'm not a classic person really, but with the classic stories, it's often 4 or more episodes, which one of those episodes by themselves um, is really not fulfilling in my point of view, at least from classic.
hmm.
So you'd have to get the whole thing in order to have in order to get any garner anything from it, really, to me. And also those stories are depend on cliffhangers, which I'm happy to see that come back, so that'll be exciting. But I just hope they do it in a way to where it's less like the classic series
Hmm.
overall story and more like these maybe something like a just a Star Trek Discovery or something, where we have this whole Klingon War, which is the story of the season, but the individual episodes, the serialized episodes, still have their own complete sub story
Hmm.
and happy feeling at the end. So that's what I'm
Totally
hoping.
fair.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to go in that direction, less like classic cliffhanger. You're gonna wait a week for the next part of the story.
Hmm.
So I took from watching or listening to what they were saying and trying to think of the logistics, I took it as because of the pandemic, you had, here's, let's just use Anderson for an example. Let's assume there's 8 episodes and he is in 5 of those episodes. I felt like they met up at some point and everybody that was involved, he was there for one set of time. He did all the takes for episode 1, episode 3, episode 4, episode 6,
Yeah.
whatever they are. You did them all at one time. Another group did all at one time, etc., and so forth. So I think that leads to, from a storytelling point, an interesting thing that you don't usually get in modern television. in the sense of you've got so many people doing so many things at so many times that you only get this actor for this amount of time at this time frame, and then they're off doing something else. And even if you can get them to come back in for reshoots, then you got to schedule, etc. I think you had maybe a lot more fluidity and possibility for Chibnall to write something having this restraint. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I would rather have, instead of 13 episodes with 3 Bennies, have 8 episodes of fantastic absolutely's. You know.
Yeah, it does put a lot more pressure on the story idea that's underlying the whole thread. So
Yes.
we'll hope that there are no giant wasps in it.
Indeed. Which is funny because I saw on Facebook 2 years ago today, our episode of Unicorn and the Wasp came out, our review of that. So that's kind of interesting you said that, because that was 2 years ago today. Woohoo,
nice.
as of this recording.
Yeah. One thing that I am excited about, though, is I think that sometimes Chibnall's ideas are too complex for a single episode, and they tend to get really dense, and it's kind of hard to follow all the possible strings that are in there. So I think it might be interesting to see, spread over an 8-episode arc, how that gives him room to move and bring it all in.
And maybe you've hit on something. Maybe that's what Chibnall has been mentioning, because we were all so excited because we love Broadchurch. Well, that's him with 8 episodes, having that canvas to paint his whatever story,
That's a great point.
perhaps. So let me ask you guys, I'm about to wrap up here, but I have a quick question. I want to know your hopes for series 13. Any speculation and or hopes? Shannon, I'll start with you.
Oh man, hopes for series 13. Do we know for sure that this is Jodie Whittaker's last season?
Rumored but not confirmed.
Rumored but not confirmed. Okay. Well, on the assumption that it might well be, I just want it to be up to her skills, up to her level, worthy of her, because I really think she's just wonderful, and I want her to go out with a really good, solid season, like Doctor Who at its best.
Awesome. Clarence Brown, what say you?
Another thing they mentioned in the panel was they're going to be bringing back old monsters. So that's kind of the thing I'm excited to see, to maybe bring back some of the monsters that we've seen, especially in New Who for me, that I know and love. So that's going to be interesting. But overall, I totally agree with Shannon. Just have a great season for Jodie, because at the end of the day, I want the season to be done, and I want people to have few complaints. Why can't we get a Loki-esque Doctor Who season? And not in so much of I want it to be like Loki, but few people have complaints. For the most part, everybody loves it. And even if you say like a Game of Thrones, some of those seasons are rock solid. Nobody really hates it. So I just really want Doctor Who to get back to where we can get a season where everybody's on board and it's not as divisive as it's been. That's my hope.
So here's my hope. I'm going to go back to Peter Capaldi as the example. Peter Capaldi's first 2 series had it was raining and thundering. Woohoo! Peter Capaldi had a different dynamic, a differently perceived dynamic with Clara. Awesome actress, awesome actor, or awesome actors both, however you want to categorize it. When he had his last season with Nardole and Bill, the entire dynamic changed, and for me, it presented an entirely different 12th Doctor, facets of him that we didn't get to see with the previous, 2 people that were interacting. So, having said that, I hope that same thing that happened for me in 10 happens in 13, so that I can get a different appreciation for 13 than what I had now. Yeah. Again, I think Jodie Whittaker is awesome. but I'm wanting what I saw in the panel to be what we see on the screen. You know, that excitement between Mandip Gill and Jodie Whittaker. I want that camaraderie and excitement between Yaz and the Doctor. You put that on the screen, you it's a winning. Those four would be awesome. It would be don't ever leave combo if you can take the actors' excitement and translate it to the characters. That would be like hands down probably one of the best in my opinion.
Yeah. And I'll just add less people to juggle. It may give that opening that you're looking for because we can focus on the Doctor more instead of having so many characters to try to juggle into the storyline.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
So,
well
in
said.
closing, I have a couple of quick questions for you guys. If you could have a cameo or an appearance by any former character in this series, could be classic, could be current, could be friend, could be foe. If you could bring back any character within the whole of Doctor Who for Series 13, even if it's nothing more than a cameo, who would it be? Shannon Perry, you get to go first.
There are so many, but I would love to see this Doctor versus Missy.
Ooh.
I
And
think
her,
that could be quite interesting.
I loved her appreciation of Missy, by the way.
She name dropped Missy in the panel.
Yeah.
Ooh, and was that intended?
I don't know. They did say they were bringing somebody back. Michelle Gomez is she is so freaking perfect in that role. I love her.
All right, Clarence.
I'm a little torn on this answer because if you would have asked me this a couple of months ago, I would have said Captain Jack. But I don't know about that now.
So we did get Captain Jack back.
Well, I want more Captain Jack. But now I'm gonna have to say I know she'll never probably come back. But Jenna Coleman as Clara, I would love to see come back, if not just for an episode. I mean, she's out there with a TARDIS, right? We can bring her back, right?
Yeah. Right. Just go eat at the diner. There you go.
Can we get Billy Piper and David Tennant as the other,
Oh,
as the other 10? The one
Oh.
from the hand?
Maybe for 60.
Oh, yeah. Let's go into parallel universes. Let's do it.
Now that's you're really talking Loki if you're going that route. Oh, who would I bring back? I'm torn, and it's between two people. But I think I'm going to I'm glad I'm sitting down, but I think this is probably going to be a shocker. But I think I would bring back Donna Noble. I love Donna Noble, and I
Yeah.
had forgotten how much, because with him being a comedian, I remember the last time I had a comedian join, and I said, "Oh, we don't need somebody that's a comedian joining Doctor Who. It'll never work. I'll hate her. I'll hate her. I'll hate her." I loved Donna Noble.
Yeah.
So, everybody would probably assume
Yeah.
I would say River Song, but no, I really won't. I think I would love to see Donna.
And I have to say, I think so many of us would love for them to heal that wound. Like the way she left was so painful and just so soul destroying. And it's like, come back and heal the Donna Noble wound for us, please.
Ooh, and that would be an utter brilliance from a writing perspective. If you want to sell that Doctor, heal the audience's wound. That's actually good.
What if we healed all the wounds?
That's
That may be
Maybe
a season.
one day.
Yeah. Go back
So-
and tie up some loose ends. Fix some things. Yeah.
So I was speculating. So whenever I wrote down that question, so this will be my speculation. When I wrote down that question of saying, what do you want to happen and who might come back, what I wonder if they will throw us a left curve, so to speak, is the master lies, the master is manipulative. What if the master is really the timeless child, not the Doctor? And the reason the Master is so crazy is because the Master was killed over and over and over and over and over as a child by the woman that was trying to get the regeneration effect. What if he's the timeless child?
Interesting.
And he lied to try to throw off the Doctor. Because, you go that whole thing of it was erased or whatever. What if the Master erased his own history and tried to pass it off as the Doctor, and maybe this adventure we're going on is the people that left the child comes back for the child, and who knows? I don't know. I'm just speculating. So,
Interesting. Very interesting. I had a question for you guys. Do you mind if I take over your position
Please,
for just a second,
always,
Kyle? I
yes.
would love to know the answer to this.
please.
So, if you were traveling with the Doctor, would you stand back, stay away, go to the TARDIS and stay there, or any of the other fruitless commands that the Doctor is always giving to his companions? Or would you, like the companions, follow her knowing full well that you'll probably end up running for your life?
Clarence.
I think you just got to be ready to run. To stay in a TARDIS would be to stay at home to me. You got to get out there and run. Now I don't know if I'd be so bold as some of the companions like Clara or, even Rose to a certain extent, to run out there by myself and try to play Doctor. I don't know if I'd do that, but I'd definitely be down to try to go fix some things and get into some shenanigans with the Doctor. I think that'd be fun.
I think you would, and because one thing that I've noticed that is the arc of every companion is the Doctor makes the companion grow. So you may not say, you're saying, oh, I may not, but I think by being in the presence of the Doctor and doing the things, I think that would make you do. I'm going to be funny and say what I said several episodes ago when I said something similar, which was, I wonder if I would be a companion in the first place, because would the Doctor choose me? Because I would be probably more of a Master companion, because I would be sitting there going, you can regenerate. How can I get that power? I'm just being honest. I would probably be sitting there trying to figure out how, because I would think that would be so cool if I could, let me go do something and regenerate or something. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting question though, because I would think Rory would probably stay in the TARDIS if given the choice.
Right.
Or Mickey would stay in the TARDIS.
Mickey,
if
yeah,
given the
Mickey
choice.
was
Nordle.
definitely who I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Nardole,
Nordle too. Yeah.
Nordle.
Yeah.
Good question. So any
Well,
other questions from either of you before we wrap?
When does the season start?
Yeah, exactly.
Coming later in 2021,
Yeah,
as of this recording.
She kept telling us like what channel it would be on, but not when. I want to know when.
So I'm going to speculate that it will be in mid to late October.
8 episodes.
8 episodes. Ending around Thanksgiving, give or take. That'll be my gut.
Do you think
I may
they'll
be
do a
wrong.
Christmas special?
I've not heard that they are. So, who knows? All right. So, the last thing that I have to say for you guys is, where else might you be found on the internet? And Shannon, I will start with you. Where else can you be found on the internet?
Well, if anybody listens to this show for 5 minutes, they'll know where to find me because Kyle is so awesome about saying so. Oz-9.com.
Yep. And you can listen to episode 60 where she tries to collapse a lung for me. So there you go. Clarence Brown, what about you?
I will say just check out discussingcomics.com, where we recently dropped a Loki review of season 1. Check that out. Also, we have a Black Widow review up there. So if you want to check those out, you can go to discussingcomics.com or search for that in any of your podcast players.
And you know what? I will, since we've been talking Loki and Doctor Who, and we've kind of compared them ever so slightly. Clarence and I have a video on YouTube on the Discussing Network YouTube channel, which you most likely are watching this on right now, so you will already know that. But go check out our video where we compare and contrast a little bit about Doctor Who and Loki. So that is us. Shannon, as always, it is an absolute pleasure having you here. And this was fun, not doing a usual review. So cool beans, thank you for jumping in and joining us. Always appreciate.
Thank you. Love being with you.
So for everyone listening, thank you for spending some time with us. You did not have to do that, and we appreciate it. And as always, we will be back next time. Cool. I'm stopping my recorder.
Awesome.
And I'm...
Oh, you found it, did you?
Oh, dear. I
Dear.
found the recorder.
You're stopping your recorder.
Oh, dear.
I don't know who I
Remind-
sound like. I can't do the impression.
That was pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
MP3 or Wave, I always forget.
Wave, please.
Wave.
Yes. Yep.